All right, guys, welcome back to another video from the Jeep. It is super hot today. Right now, I've got the windows down, so we might have some outside noise interference. I apologize for that, but I've got to do that here because it's super hot in here. So I want to talk in this video about preserving and protecting your wealth. I got a comment and a question from a viewer who asked me to talk about this, and it's a really good discussion to have because there are a number of ways to do this, and I'll tell you the way that I go about protecting and preserving my wealth and my plan, the plan that I have used thus far, and what I plan to do moving forward as I generate more income and reach new levels. So I'll kind of go through that. So, you know, a key thing that most people have heard about when it comes to preserving wealth is the concept of diversification, which is important. Like once you reach a certain financial level, once you accomplish a certain goal, you want to preserve that level of financial well-being that you have. And diversification allows you, I think, a better chance of preserving your wealth over the long run. Okay, right? So that's diversification is key in helping to preserve your wealth. Now, I've talked in other videos where I've talked about, sometimes during your investing journey, you want to be more concentrated in certain assets to allow yourself to basically rocket to new heights pretty quickly, and then you diversify later, after you've reached a certain height, and then you can go into a concentrated position again to reach another level, to reach new heights, and then diversify again. So you're basically doing like this, almost like this pancake model where you're shooting straight up a rocket, and then you're forming a pancake where you're diversified, and then you're shooting another rocket up, and then you've got another level up there where you're diversified, and then you're shooting up again, another level up there. So this is kind of what I'm doing in my strategy, where every time I hit a financial goal, I want to maintain that goal, and I am, protecting my wealth so I don't lose my wealth. Now, one other thing that I did is, recently, so I crossed a big stage in my investing, and I got to the point where I covered all my annual expenses for the home, for cars, for insurance, for food, entertainment, all that kind of stuff. I actually got there about a year ago, but I didn't consider it done because what I wanted to do is actually have twice as many dividends coming in as what I needed. I knew that I needed to hit a certain number to cover my annual expenses and to be able to live free basically in retirement if I wanted to be retired. But I decided to go for twice the number of dividends that I actually needed, so that I had some cushion against downturns, like in the market, against recessions and all that kind of stuff. So that's another way to do it as well. So I employed both strategies, like in building and maintaining that level. Like I'm very protective of that stage that I've gotten at, where it's like I'm financially free, I can cover all my annual expenses. That level is very important to me. So in that level, I stay very diversified across the stocks and ETFs. And I also have twice as much dividend income coming in as what I need, so that I can ride out dividend cuts, distribution cuts, downturns in the market, recessions, all that kind of stuff. So that's one way to do it too. It's like go for twice as much or 50% more or twice as much, whatever you want to do is what you think you're going to need when you're actually doing your planning. And in that level, you also diversify across stocks and ETFs that you think are going to be able to maintain your wealth. Now, the best performing, the best hedges against problems, like the absolute best diversification, wealth protection mechanisms, I would consider to be the very low yielding stocks and ETFs that are out there. And I'm talking the SCHDs of the world, and stocks like Procter & Gamble, Johnson & Johnson, 3M, McDonald's, Coca-Cola, companies that are going to be around our entire life, basically, and they don't pay out a very big dividend, right? But they're going to be around, and so those are safe, solid companies, I think, to be invested in. And you get into something like SCHD, that's going to maintain your wealth, right? But it's not going to grow it very quickly. At least it's going to take years to do it. It's minute in comparison to like what the yield max ETFs can do in terms of yield that it can throw off. But anyway, so that's one way to diversify when you reach a certain level. So I've reached that at where I am right now, where I've got diversification, good diversification in my stage one, where I'm covering all my home expenses, all my day-to-day life expenses, I guess. I don't have the Johnson & Johnson's, the Procter & Gamble, 3M, Coca-Cola, Walmart, and the SCHDs in there. I sold them off But what I am going to do is 2 years from now, when we go through the crypto bull run and I make a ton of money from that, I'm going to buy some of those stocks to sprinkle them back down basically to my stage one diversification, so that everything is rock solid as can be, rock solid as can be there. But anyway, so I have reached that level of diversification. Now what I'm doing in my investment, I've moved on to stage two, where I'm going for the investing to be able to do the fun things in life that I really want to do that are expensive. And it's like, okay, well, I want to do those things. And so I'm putting my money into more risky assets like Coney, like moving forward, probably 50% of my allocation of what I invest is probably going to be going directly into Coney, and probably 25% into Tesla, 25% into SQY, the new yield max ETF that's going to be coming out. That's going to have a really good yield. I think 75 to 80% is kind of what I think it's going to end up being. But that's my strategy, like moving forward in that stage, like I'm letting it rocket, you know, to generate a lot of cash. Once I reach a certain level, I'll diversify at that level. So I kind of maintain that level. Like I've already got a level down here right now that I'm maintaining, and I'm shooting a rocket up that's more concentrated in how I invest. And once I reach a certain level, I'll create another plane up there, another base, so to speak, where I protect it with diversification before I shoot another rocket up and accomplish more, right? So that's kind of how I do it. I do things in stages, where it's like stage one is making sure all the home expenses and annual expenses with food and insurance and cars and all that kind of stuff is covered, and then shoot a rocket up, hit the next level, diversify right there, shoot another rocket up, do it at that next level. And that's kind of my method for doing it. Now, some of the I guess the things that you can get invested in to diversify, obviously you can get into stocks and ETFs. I think the best like stocks, like I said, for ultimate protection against bad things happening are the SCHD and the Johnson & Johnson and the McDonald's and Procter & Gamble and 3Ms of the world. Okay, that's the best way. Also, you could use gold and silver too. And I've talked in the past, like you can buy gold and silver through your brokerage account. I would recommend the PHYS, the Fizz ETF. I think it's an ETF. It might be a trust for physical gold holdings, and the PSLV relates to physical silver holdings. So those two trusts or ETFs are what I would recommend if you want to get into some gold and silver to kind of brace things down, so to speak, and batten down the hatches to protect your wealth at certain levels. That's just my strategy. Ultimately, it's like you want, you know, one of the best things about one of the reasons why people diversify is like, you know, say you got like 10 stocks or 20 stocks that you're invested in. If 3 go down significantly and have significant drops in their dividends, for example, you still are doing good on the rest of the stocks and ETFs you have. So that's that's one of the reasons for diversification. Also, if one of the companies happens to go bankrupt, you know, and get delisted from the exchange, then you're not completely all out of luck. You don't have all your eggs in one basket. That's a good reason to be diversified. Anyway, hopefully this gave you guys some good ideas, some good options for stuff. Ultimately, again, just to recap, some of the things that I've talked about in the past in this video, like it's often, you know, common to concentrate your wealth when you're shooting a rocket up to try to build wealth, and then diversifying it when you hit a certain level, right? Diversifying to protect that level of financial wealth that you have achieved, and then shooting another rocket up to achieve a new level and diversifying there, and then going up again and diversifying there. So that's kind of the method that I use the rocket ship model. And right now in this current investing environment, right now the best way I see it is the Coney, C-O-N-Y, is my best rocket for generating tremendous amounts of cash, which is why it's going to be my #1 investment going forward until YieldMax comes out with something that's even better than Coney. But we'll see. Hopefully they do, because it's like I'm looking for the best yield, man. I'm not tied to Coney, I'm just tied to the best yield. So that's just my opinion. Anyway, hope you guys are doing well. If you just came across this video, my name is Ethan. If you're not a subscriber, I'd love you to be a part of the family, so please consider subscribing. I talk about investing, cryptocurrency, becoming wealthy, all that kind of good stuff, and that's really important in today's world. And if you could, I would love it if you would give this video a thumbs up and like the video. Anyway, I will see you guys in the next video. You guys take care. Until then, good luck and peace out.